So two things are absolutely clear. One, India has not succumbed to Chinese threats. And two, China only understands the language of strength. The border provocation in Galwan was perhaps the most serious military challenge that India has faced in decades. It was unprecedented. In terms of its scale, planning and intent, 20 Indian soldiers were killed in action 2-0. And the Chinese were fully prepared for further escalation. The pandemic has dented Beijing's global image. Xi Jinping was on a shaky wicket. He desperately needed a geopolitical maneuver to bolster his image. But he underestimated India's strength and resolve. In the past, India acquiesced to China. But now India stands its ground. From Doklam in 2017 to Ladakh in 2020, India has refused to appease China. Unlike its other smaller neighbors, New Delhi drew the red line, made specific preconditions for normalizing ties and used the same policy it has used on Pakistan for decades. If talks and terror cannot go hand in hand, neither can border aggression and business. On the military front, India ensured it will not be caught off guard again. From Galwan to Spangur to Depsang, India ramped up its defences, activated its entire logistics network, matched China's military deployment and secured its frontiers. By October 2020, 40,000 Indian troops were braving the freezing temperatures in eastern Ladakh. And to add to that, India ensured that the Special Frontier Force spearheaded this operation, a force which had Tibetans fighting for India. Thousands of Tibetans have made India their home since the Dalai Lama was forced into exile from China. India has hit China where it hurt the most. Then we come to the economic front. India weaponized its market, curbed the flow of Chinese cash in the Indian economy. It started by amending the FDI policy to curb opportunistic takeovers. In 2019, the fund inflows from Chinese companies in India was $229 million. By September 2020, it had declined by almost 29%, $163 million. Then India carried out what's being called a digital strike. It banned Chinese apps, a move that reduced China's influence on the internet economy. Last we checked, India had banned at least 200 Chinese apps. This provided a model for other countries to do the same, countries like the US and Japan. Then India extended anti-dumping duty on a range of products from China, mostly on antibacterial drugs and Chinese steel. This impacted the price of Chinese products coming to India and adversely affected profits for Chinese manufacturers. India also challenged China's pharma supremacy, began nursing the world. From Afghanistan to Egypt, from South Africa to Brazil, an array of countries received the Made in India vaccine. The Chinese state media was so rattled, it began accusing India of smearing its efforts. One headline is on your screen: India's vaccine diplomacy clearly outfoxed China's wolf warrior diplomacy. And speaking of diplomacy, India also strengthened its security cooperation, primarily through the Quad, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. The Quad, a strategic alliance between the US, Japan, Australia and India, 4 countries. This is to counter China's aggressive military expansionism. This group is set to meet soon. India also held multiple important naval exercises with an eye on China: the Malabar 20 with Quad allies, Sly Next 20 with Sri Lanka, the Bongo Sagar exercise with Bangladesh, the Jimex 20 with Japan. Xi Jinping hoped that he could simply wear India down. But India outsmarted and isolated China on all these fronts: military, economic and diplomatic. It understood the gap between China's words and China's actions and kept the pressure on for full disengagement. Simply put, India has called China's bluff and dealt with Beijing in the only language that it understands: the language of strength. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.